Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the 1860 Munich Road to Glory career mode. It is season 2, but before we get started here, I just wanted to give you guys an update. For those of you who have been following my channel, if you're on my Discord, if you're following the Ruleset or any of these things, and you've seen that I haven't been really engaged or uploading any content recently, please bear with me and please understand my situation. I'm at the point where my dad's health has deteriorated quite a lot, and we honestly don't know if he's gonna even have a Christmas with us. So, we're almost at that point where we won't be able to do anything for him, just give him morphine to ease the pain. So that's why the content has been slow. In between that and me wanting to watch the World Cup, obviously, as I'm sure many of you wanted to watch, there has just been no time for me to do anything. Having said that, I am trying to get these 1860 Munich seasons out. I am trying to get a DLC for the new year for the rule set, so just please bear with me and just understand my situation. If the content is a little bit slower for the next little while, just please understand. All right, now let's get into season 2, guys. So first of all, we ended off last season by winning the title in the last game, and that was just a cherry on top for what I consider a very successful season. 25 wins, 9 draws, 4 losses. For the most part, we were a really good defensive team, but also showed that we can really hurt teams going forward. There was a number of great performances late on down the stretch from Lackenmacher, for example. Sir in the middle of the season popping up with some great performances, some great goals. And it was just a really successful season, which is why I don't understand why the board says that I didn't meet expectations or didn't meet certain goals. It's crap. I met all of the goals. And obviously something's broken with the game. We're definitely going to have to monitor that. Now, before we do start season 2, we have to do some things on the sheet. Obviously, fill out the end of season sheet, which I did. And then once you do that, you move to your core DNA sheet and what I like to call your upgrades. Okay, so what you see on your screen right now is our original core DNA setup, the one that we started the career mode with. And it's a pretty balanced setup with an obvious emphasis on development and a little bit on academy. And that's going to be a common theme going forward in this series. But now that we have our first upgrades, I'm going to just go through a little bit of my thought process. I'm going to show you my choices and just give you a general feel, a general outline of the direction we're going to be taking going forward. So after we applied our upgrades, this is what our core DNA sheet looks like. So first and foremost, +2 to the development core DNA strand. And that's going to give us 2 extra focused development plans. And honestly, the more youngsters we have in our squad, the more focused development plans we're going to need, because we're going to need to turn them into specialists. The other DNA point went into the employment DNA strand, and I feel like this is a very strong upgrade, just because of how versatile one staff member can be going forward. You can really change the direction of travel on the go, apply it to any area of the football club. If you need a boost in fitness levels, training, if you need a boost in scouting, transfers, there's a lot of ways you can use the staff members to your advantage, and I felt like that was a perfect way to round out this set of upgrades. So I went with the 1 in employment, 2 in development, but I felt like it wasn't an easy decision because I could have easily gone an extra +2 in networking. And I was thinking about it, getting scouting base after dedicated staff. That would be nice because we do need to create an extensive shortlist for when we get into the Bundesliga. We're going to need to have players to choose from, but I felt like maybe that can wait just one more season. And I also thought about increasing operations by 2, because if we got stadium infrastructure, that's higher ticket profits, that's extra money for us that we can spend on players. But then I thought if we don't have that extensive shortlist and those players to choose from, we maybe don't need that money just yet, especially since I do expect a few players to inevitably leave our team to better clubs still this season. And I briefly thought maybe increase culture, because that way we can get even more traits. But I thought since we do have 4 to choose from in this set of upgrades, I felt like that was enough. And given an increase of 1 in employment and 2 in development, I felt like the traits that opened up for us, it just provides a very interesting and juicy way to use these traits. And I'll explain that in a second. In any case, I'll go through the traits, all of them right now. So first of all, I picked the 1-star culture trait, philosophy, the development strand of it, and the 2-star development trait, future-proof. And that does exactly the same thing, basically, sign extra under 23s. And this is just central to our theme. It's a core of our 1860 Munich identity. And last season, we were able to sign 3 under 23s just because we had a board objective that allowed us to supersede the usual quota of 1. I want to have the ability to sign under 23s all the time. So now we're able to sign 3 of them, and that's what I was going for with these 2 traits that I picked. The other 2 is where it gets interesting, because seeing how we're going to be signing under 23s and seeing how we have a little bit of things that can increase our signing bonus. Everyone has a price, our defensive play style, and if we choose a director of football in the staff, I felt like the way to go here was to go all out and get reach for the stars and get a big fat bonus to signing under 23s of a particular position. And I thought that position should be the defense. And then common tongue is the other trait I picked, and the final trait I picked, which means a nice fat bonus to signing compatriots. And I had a very clear plan in mind with this, and I will show you this as I unveil the transfers for this season. But this, along with the director of football, which I fully intend to choose, gives us a nice juicy boost. And honestly, we will be able to get players that we shouldn't be able to get. And that's just because of our focus, and we'll be able to lure those players and create a very strong team. I can't wait to show you guys the signings, but that is basically how I chose to go about setting up this core DNA for season 2. So for future, look for me to increase networking up to 6 and operations up to 4. I think those are the 2 most likely directions, but for now, this is what we have to work with. Once we finished our core DNA setup, we went on to the club sheet. And as you guys can see, everything is updated. We're in the 2nd Bundesliga. We're a 68 overall club now. We have the reach for the stars, which we picked for the defensive position. And we have our primary sponsor. It's still Nike this time around. We're going for the increased revenue from ticket sales. And we obviously inputted our beginning of the season finances. We're still at 26,000 in weekly wages, but that's sure to increase once I update the contract situation. And our starting budget from the board is about 5.5 million. Obviously, we're not going to get that total amount, but that is a healthy budget for the 2nd Bundesliga, so I'm really excited. In terms of our staff, we kept on Michael Kölner as our manager, so he gives us that 1 positional development plan, the 1 recovery day, which I felt came in quite handy because our players were just always constantly fresh. Now, in terms of our staff members, we went again with the assistant manager for role changes. That's going to come in handy this season. The first team coach to train the CBs and the director of football for larger buying bonuses will be more important than ever. So that stayed the same. I'm going to add, with that 1 extra employment, a scouting director, which gives us the ability to do some interesting things in terms of the instructions we can set, the countries we can visit. And I feel like that will be enough of a boost for scouting for the 2nd Bundesliga. And I felt like that is the staff member that will round out our club at this moment in time. Okay, and now it's time to jump into the board objectives for season 2, guys. So as you can see, the manager popularity rating's 56. Again, we're going to have to keep an eye out on that because they seem to think we didn't do a good job last season. But going into this season, youth development, critical priority, guys. Sign 3 players in the defender position. Honestly, yeah, that's fair enough. I agree. We need as many defenders as possible with our 3 at the back. And long-term, get 1 of those players playing in half the games in the following season. And you know what? That is fair enough. They want us to really double down on the youth and promote them. I'm happy with that. Brand exposure, medium priority, sign 1 young player. Couldn't be easier. I will definitely do that. Financial, critical priority, make 2.5 million profit from youth players within 2 seasons. So again, this all ties into this development of young players, and it fits perfectly for our core DNA setup. It fits perfectly for the style of career mode that I wanted. And I feel like this is a very reasonable set of expectations for this season. Domestic success is a low priority, and it's just finished mid-table, round of 16. Honestly, very vanilla, very doable. I feel like this is a little bit easy almost, dare I say, because given what we had last season, it was a lot more difficult. I feel like this is very, very doable. Okay, so now we can have a quick look at our club finances and our transfer budget, which is 3.8 million for this season, guys, and that's pretty healthy. 2.6 comes from carryover and 1 million from ticket revenues. Now we're going to have to spend that money in the next 3 weeks because that's when our season starts, so we don't have a lot of time. We have to get our business done. And looking at the squad, first and foremost, I decided who's going to get cut. And it was a hard decision because first and foremost, Skenderovic was the first I decided to let go. And I wanted to give him playing time, but with Lakenmacher, Bear coming back from injury, Vrenetsi taking up a striker role, and the emergence of Sur, I don't think he's going to get enough playing time. I'd rather cash in on him. Shanghai Port came in, 670,000. That's our first transfer out. Vine, great player, and this was probably the most difficult for me, but I needed to free up some roles. I needed some important roles. If we're to bring in players, we need to be able to have roles that we can assign them to, because right now we're maxed out on everything, so some of the players had to go. Vine was a casualty. Again, he's an aging player, even though he fits our mold. He doesn't fit our core philosophy of young players, so I decided to cut him. Again, Pisa came in, 740,000. He's gone. That's our second transfer out. Our third was in a very similar vein. Again, Rieder, some great performances last season, fits the mold. Aging star, doesn't fit. Heidenheim came in, 610,000. He's gone. That's our third transfer out. And we have garnered and generated some amount of extra transfer budget for ourselves. Now, in terms of loans, it was a very similar situation. We have a great pool of young players. Not all of them are going to get to play. Some of them have to be loaned out. The first one to be loaned out is Baran, a 1-year loan to Górnik Zabrze, to his home country. There he goes. And then in the midst of all this, we're disrupted and forced to sell someone, guys. Or are we? We'll find out in a second. But Norwich came in. 72 overall rated club. I mean, they're a bigger club, and this is going to happen. They want Belkaccia, and that's a problem, because he was an emerging star for us, a really good CB who was starting to take Lang's position. And -5 rating calculation, we have to sell him. The valuation is 3.23, and I knew at this point that it was going to get accepted because it's a championship club who's trying to get back to the Premier League. They're going to spend the money. And there he goes, 3.23 million in the bank, so it's good on one hand, but we lost a very good player, 71 overall rated, and we're going to have to replace that now. So that was unfortunate. Okay, so the flip side to selling all these players is that now we have a big bag of cash to spend, and I fully intend to do that. We're going to go through all the Season 2 signings here now, guys. There is a rhyme and reason and sort of order of things, and I will try to explain as I go. But first and foremost, we hit the free agency market. Because we have open market specialists, we can get 3 free agents / pre-contracts, and because we didn't get any pre-contracts, we'll definitely be getting 3 free agents. I looked through all of them and found an interesting player that solves our backup target man striker problem. And it's Sławiński, 18 years old, 58 overall, 77 potential. He can really grow into something, guys. I know he's a low overall, and I do tend to sign some of these players, but that is our club identity, signing young players and developing them. He's also Polish, which is very important, and I will explain that in a second. But we get Sławiński on the free. He's decent. His pace is already up there in the 70s. He's got 58 ball control, 58 finishing, 66 dribbling. There is some semblance of stats that we can work with. He definitely needs improvement in heading, stamina, strength, because he's going to be that target man, and that's why he's on this target man role. But the reason why this is a very important transfer is also because he's Polish. And now we have 3 Polish players in the squad, and the 4th one is now going to be at a discount with our compatriot bonus, and that was very key in getting our first big money signing for this season, guys. It's Bartosz Ślisz. Someone who has been on my radar from the beginning of this career mode. I scouted him whilst he was still in the Ekstraklasa. He's now in Silkeborg. 1 season he's played there. 69 overall, 76 potential, and I got him for 3.255 million, a steep price, but he fits perfectly. And as you guys can see, I just barely got this over the line. 0.5 realism calculation. That's with the compatriot bonus, with the release clause bonus, since we have everyone has a price trait. And that's on top of the director of football multiplying everything. And we just barely got this over the line. So you can see how key getting Sławiński into the club was for this transfer to happen. And it's a steep price, like I said, but decent pace for a central midfielder. He's not slow. 91 stamina, high defensive, high attacking work rate. That's really the selling point, because he's going to be the perfect transition player for us, the carrier of the ball in between the 2 lines. And he's just so balanced. 71 stand tackles, 70 interceptions, but also 69 ball control, 67 dribbling, 70 short passing, and he can still increase in all these stats. He's going to be the perfect utility player for us. and I felt like this was the perfect strengthening for our club. So the first two signings are the Polish duo. Following a similar blueprint to what we just did, signing a Polish player in order to get Slisz, who I consider a very special player for our squad, we did the same thing with a Dutch player base. We have Virlat, we needed 2 more players in order to then sign a very special Dutch player. Now I'll get to that in a second, but first and foremost, we made a second money signing of Rosen, a Dutch 17-year-old talent, 61 overall, 74 potential, definitely a fun road to glory player. Now, his contract is expiring, so we got him for 1.125 million. Steep price tag for a youngster, but I think we can develop him. Now, there is one major weakness to him, and it's that he has 39 stamina, and that is a big weakness, especially for my Conte system where the midfielders really do need stamina. It is a bit low, and this is a project. However, the selling point is clearly 67 long pass, 67 short pass at 17. For the level I'm playing at, this is just off the charts. He has decent stats going forward. He has 71 dribbling, 70 balance. There is stats to work with here. And if I can just get that stamina up, he will be a peach of a player. And if I can't, he'll be a serviceable sub. But I thought it was worth a risk, especially since he's 17 and he just has so much room to grow. So that's our first Dutch signing. Our second one comes from the free agency, and it's a Dutch goalkeeper. I apologize if I get the pronunciation wrong. Nijhuis. Correct me in the comments. In any case, 65 overall, 69 potential. He's a 24-year-old. And another thing I want to mention is he's a 24-year-old just like Slisz. So these are very young players, but it's just over that 23-year-old marker. So it doesn't eat up a transfer of under 23 talent. And that was something that I was really keen to do as well. And what this transfer also does is it gives us a solid backup goalkeeper, perhaps someone who can step in if Kretschmar gets sold or if he's injured. And in the second Bundesliga, we need something a little bit better than Dudek, so this fills that void, and obviously it gives us that third Dutch player, which means now we can bring in a very, very special signing off the free agency. But when I saw this guy, I'm like, we need to get this guy at all costs. And we just got this over the line. Van Heck, guys, 73 overall, 78 potential, instant star player in our squad, and realism calculation at 1. This was barely over the line. We had to use the fact that he's a free agent. We had to use the fact that we have the 3 Dutch players with the compatriot bonus. Our under 23 reach for the stars bonus, that gives us a massive boost to signing under 23-year-old defenders. And on top of all of this, we also have the play style that's defensive. That gives us a boost. And on top of all of that, we have the director of football doubles down on our transfer policy and brings us a player of this caliber, of this talent, into 1860 Munich whilst they're in the second Bundesliga. Our core DNA is working for us, and he is just a monster if you look at him. And the fact that we get him on a free is just ridiculous. But if you look at him, 78 strength, 77 jumping, he's got the physical presence, 73 stand tackle, 76 defensive awareness, 73 interceptions, very solid defensively. But the selling point for this guy is, first of all, he's not slow. And second of all, he's a ball-playing defender. 70 short pass, 68 long pass. He fits perfectly, and he will make a monstrous duo with Virlat at the back there. If Morgala grows into something, that is a back 3, which can easily come into the Bundesliga if we keep the core together. And I'm just so excited to have him in the squad. It really is a monumental signing, and not only does this replace Belkaja, but it does one better. He is going to be a rock at the back, guys. So those are the transfers for Season 2, guys, and with the remainder of the transfer budget, we needed to address the wage situation, and our contracts needed to be updated. So we went through all the players and did a complete overhaul of the wage structure. First of all, everyone was on a 1 to 2 year contract. That's how things work in the third German league. Players don't really want to stay in a low tier of football. They want to see where your club goes. If they get promoted, great, like we did. If not, they dip. So we updated that because now, realistically, they should be signing longer deals. And we did that. We also made sure that there is no unnecessary release clauses. And in general, just updated the wage structure so that everybody gets paid close to our club's wage structure. And yeah, that's what we spend our remaining budget on. All right, and that brings us to the first game of the season, guys. The start of the second Bundesliga against Holstein Kiel. And we have to do an in-depth tactical analysis for this first game, guys. I want to get off to a win. So if you look at their tactics, slow build-up possession football. That's the style they want to play. And this is very much evident in a 4-1-2-1-2 diamond. They want to work the ball through the middle and create chances that way. If you look at their fullbacks, they're not set to bomb forward. This is going to be very key. And if you look at the profile of fullback that they have, more so defensive, but even there's a weakness. They're not that good defensively. So that's potentially something we can take advantage of. In the midfield, they've got one player sitting back, and you've got two central midfielders who aren't really on defensive duties. And the profile is more of playmaking center mid with high vision, high short passing. Holtby, Mülling, these players are going to be trying to create from the middle, and they're going to be trying to get the ball into the forwards like Pichler, who's drifting wide. He's getting in behind, asking those questions. Perfectly suited for that because he has 86 sprint speed, and that's something we need to watch out for. Now, when you put all these things together, what you have is that we need to alter our formation just slightly. First of all, we usually have our central midfielders making sure that they're covering wide. Now, because this formation of theirs doesn't offer width, we're going to make sure they clog the center. We have all of our central midfielders, all three of them, covering the center, clogging that area and making it hard for them to do what they want to do. That is the most important thing here. Now, the second thing is we're going to slightly change it because we're going to play Slish instead of McCowett there, because we're going to move McCowett out to right mid. And I'll explain that in a second. But because Slish is going into the central midfield area, he's more of a box-to-box, and he's going to be staying on the edge for crosses and fulfilling that role. And Talag, in this case, is going to be getting into the box in that more Mazzala role. So we're just switching our box-to-box and Mazzala from left to right here. Now, this is to accommodate McCowett on the right. And that's because McCowett is going to have free reign to then attack that fullback one-on-one. And that's what we want to see. Him creating dangerous 1v1 opportunities with his technical skills against their fullbacks who really aren't that good. And no one's going to be helping double up in that area. So that is something that we can take advantage of. And that's what I'm going to be looking for in this game. So we start off life in the 2.Bundesliga with a really good performance in the first half, guys. Holstein Kiel didn't look at it, but we took full advantage and had some great opportunities. It's a long ball in here for Bear. Great layoff to Lachenmacher. It's a shot saved by the goalkeeper, but early pressure. And we continue to mount it with this corner. We recycle the play well. The ball falls to Kölner here. And look at this. He takes a look, a touch, and floats it into the back of the net. That is a beautiful goal and an absolutely dirty chip from Kölner of all people. He picks up the ball at the edge of the box and he just floats it. And you can see on the screen, it said 0 expected goals because he had no right to put this into the back of the net. And that is just outstanding. That could be goal of the season. That is just such good technique from Kölner. And we're up 1-0. Now, like I said, there was something to worry about with Holstein Kiel, especially when they were going faster through the middle, because they were getting their opportunities when they were quickly going through the middle. Kretschmar had to make a good save here. Now, they continued to pressure us, but the wings were open when they did so. And this is a perfect example. McCowett, loads of space. Greilinger, fullback to fullback. It's a save by the goalkeeper. We keep it in play, and we get another chance. And again, no one's really pressuring us here on the wing. Bear gets a shot. It's another save. So we have some joy down on the wing. Now, defensively speaking, we tried to get our fullbacks to harass anybody that was going on the wing, but a lot of the times this is what happened, and they tried to get passes into the middle. We tried to double up. So as you can see here, there's two people guarding the pass into the middle. This is exactly what I want. Now another player here trying to intercept the ball as the pass is coming into the middle. Okay, it doesn't work this time, but this is where it's important for Kölner right here to make sure that he closes down someone at the edge of the box so that this is a more difficult shot. Kretschmar makes the save. This is the defensive scheme I wanted to run, and for the most part, it was working in this first half. And then on the flip side, offensively, we were trying to get counters, especially now that we're up 1-0. And we got a lucky bounce here, as you'll see. It bounces right to Lachenmacher. He has a chance to make it 2-0. Unfortunately, a tame finish. Now, to be fair, Holstein Kiel started the second half very lively, and when they quickened the pace through the middle, that's when they can hurt us, and that's when they created the opportunities they had this game. Holtby gets it on the edge of the box, an outside curve shot, outrageous, and saved by Kretschmar. And then this happened, which was a defensive error because no one picked up that guy out of the midfield or out of the strikers. Then this back heel released Holtby, and it's in, guys. Kretschmar can't save it, and it's 1-1. A little bit of defensive ineptitude and a little bit of a magical pass to put Holtby in, and that's what breaks the defense down. But we didn't hang our heads, and we tried to get opportunities, not at all costs, but we kept it at balance and tried to get our opportunities. Lachenmacher could have put this in. He just can't get the head on it. And then we continued to probe, and we got a number of set pieces this game. And one of them finally came to fruition. Vrenetsi flies in, and it's almost safe, almost cleared off the line, but it's in, guys. 2-1 in the 81st minute. Vrenetsi puts us ahead. And you can see how close this was. He flies in, a short dude flying, and he beats everyone to the header. It bounces off the goalkeeper, off the guy's knee, and probably just barely crosses the line. And it puts us up 2-1, and that wins us the game, guys. We hang on. We did a good tactical matchup here against Holstein Kiel. We made the necessary adjustments. We played a good game of football defensively. They had some opportunities only when they quickened the pace, but we kept them at bay for most of the game. And we had our opportunities, and the most important part is we finally took them. We win this game 2-1, guys. So win number 1 under our belt, guys. Great start to the second Bundesliga season. Now we'll see if our boys can do just as well as we did in the sim. There's not going to be too much changes in terms of the squad, because I just like keeping a consistent squad for the first few games of the season. Now, this Düsseldorf game was difficult. They kept possession a lot. They had the better chances. They scored the early goal in Gincheng. We really didn't have a lot of opportunities until the second half, where we finally got the breakthrough. Lachenmacher makes it 1-1. And then in the dying moments, we kept good pressure, got a number of corners, and finally, Lachenmacher gets a second here, and he puts us up 2-1. He gets us the win, and that's 2 under our belt to start the second Bundesliga season. Here's the schedule for the month of August, guys, and we'll get into most of these games in the next episode. We're going to end off this episode with a cup game against Rot-Wein Essen. Now, if you like this episode, if you like this series, or if you're a fan of the Ruleset, don't forget to smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and turn on your notifications. But for now, we're going to go into this cup game against Rot-Wein Essen. We're going to be playing a lot of young players, and your commentator for this game is yours truly, Buzzko. Welcome everybody to the Grunwalder Stadion for this DFB Pokal fixture between 1860 Munich and Rot-Wein Essen. The hosts have started life in the second Bundesliga quite positively with 2 wins from 2 games under their belt, and they'll be looking to translate that form here against Rot-Wein Essen. They are the better side and are looking to advance into the round of 32. Let's see if they can do it here. It's been a fairly cagey affair here so far, but now perhaps a chance here for Rot-Wein Essen. It's a cross in, dealt well with Virlat. Oh, but he loses it. This could be dangerous. And what is this? It's a penalty. Virlat brings down the Rot-Wein Essen attacker in the box. That is very surprising, but Virlat is in disbelief. Let's see this again. Oh, and you have to say that is a soft penalty. The attacker was looking for it, bringing that leg up, but nonetheless, no VAR intervention, and it's a penalty here. Can Nishkovic save it? He can! What a save from the Dutch goalkeeper. That really was a magnificent save from the 1860 Munich goalkeeper, but it's Essen again attacking, and it's another save from Nishkovic. 1860 Munich looked very shocked and are in a complete shambles. It's a ball over the top, and another chance! Nishkovic makes the save, it's a loose ball, and he picks it up. He has been in top form, Nishkovic. So far, this game has been littered with defensive errors from the 1860 Munich players, very unlike them. And here's another giveaway. Their ball retention has been very shocking this game. And it's going to be Essen with another chance here. They play it into the box. This could be a good chance. Played back for Niemeyer, and it's in. They finally break the deadlock. And that is a well-deserved goal for Rot-Wein Essen. They have been knocking on Nishkovic's door all game long, and this time he cannot keep it out. But 1860 Munich has just been asking for this. giving the ball away constantly, time and time again. Niemeyer gets into the box, it's played back to him, and he puts it into the back of the net. 1860 Munich bring on a number of players here, make a host of changes in hopes that they can salvage this game still from Rot-Weiss Essen. It's moved out wide in for Dijkman, cross for Sohr, and that was better from 1860. The substitutes have just come on, but they've had already such a positive impact. We'll see if 1860 Munich can continue to mount the pressure here. It's Slisz who lays it off to Sławinski. McCowett is making a darting run, and he makes a run and he makes a goal. What a strike from McCowett. And they've been crying out from that movement into the box. McCowett doesn't want to celebrate. The job isn't over yet, but a lovely goal from him. And this movement is exactly what they needed. McCowett finds the space, loses his man, darts into the box, doesn't even take a touch, and puts this in the top corner. What a strike here from Callum McCowett. That's the type of impulse you need, and the manager is absolutely loving it. Essen will try to get things going here again, but it's Slisz, and that's a lovely tackle. This is better from 1860, and it's McCowett on the wing. He's making a surging run into the box. Sohr is at the bottom. It's a pass, but he can't get to it. What a game this has turned out to be. End-to-end stuff, and now it's Essen attacking. They work it around. It's inside the box. This could be a great chance. It's cut back, blocked. It's a crossbar, and another rebound saved by Nischwitz. This has been an unbelievable contest. 90 minutes wasn't enough. Extra time wasn't enough. And it will be a penalty shootout to decide who between 1860 Munich and Rot-Weiss Essen advances to the next round. Let's see who comes out on top here. Callum McCowett, the first to step up. Oh, but it's over the bar. Now it's Escher for Rot-Weiss Essen. And he puts it down the middle confidently. Bear, this needs to go in for 1860 Munich. And it does. A confident penalty into the top corner. Now it's Morgan. And he puts a Panenka-style past Nischwitz. Now it's Rosen up for 1860 Munich. And he puts it confidently off the bar. Eisfeld steps up for Rot-Weiss Essen. And Nischwitz who makes the save. Now Dijkman to make it 3-2. And he does. What a beautiful penalty off the bar. Young stepping up for Rot-Weiss Essen. And he puts it confidently to the left. Sohr. A chance to take the lead here for 1860. And he puts it over the bar. This is dangerous territory. Nischwitz has to save this from Niemeyer. And he does. The penalty shootout keeps going. Now it's Slisz to take the lead for 1860. And he puts it in confidently to the right. Can Nischwitz make this save? He has made so many this penalty shootout and one during regular time. Plechatis steps up. And he puts it to the right. Now it's time for Jensen. Can he get this in for 1860 Munich? No, he puts it wide. And it's going to be down to Nischwitz again. Can he save 1860 Munich for the third time? Heber steps up. And it's another save from Nischwitz. This has been an unbelievable penalty shootout. And now it's Graf off the post and in. 1860 take the lead again. And it's Martinez to step up for Rot-Weiss Essen. Can Nischwitz do this again? It's a shot into the right. It's a late dive, but it's a save. And they win the penalty shootout. They go on to the next round. What a performance from Nischwitz. He has been absolutely out of his mind this game. What a truly great performance we have witnessed here today. This is your commentator Buzzko signing off. Laters!